Uit die blauw van onze hemel, uit die diepte van ons zee. Oor ons ewige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. Deur ons ver verlate vlaktes, met die kreun van Ossewa, ruis die stem van ons geliefde, van ons land Suid-Afrika. Ons sal antwoord op jou roepstem, ons sal offer wat jy vra. Ons sal lewe, ons sal sterwe, ons vir jou Suid-Afrika. Come on. What's the English version? Eighty blow, ringing out from our blue heavens, from our deep seas breaking round, over everlasting mountains, where the echoing crags resound, from our plains where creaking wagons cut their trails into the earth, calls the spirit of our country, of the land that gave us birth. At thy call we shall not falter, firm and steadfast we shall stand. At thy will to live or perish, O South Africa, dear land. Come on, it's Penuel the Black Pen. Die stem van Suid-Afrika, the voice of South Africa, also known as the call of South Africa or simply die stem, is a former national anthem of South Africa. There are two versions of the song, one in English and the other in Afrikaans, which were in use early on in the Union of South Africa alongside God Save the Queen. And as the sole anthem after South Africa became a republic, it was the sole anthem from 1957 to 1994 and shared co-national anthem status with God Save the King or Queen from 1938 to 1957. After the end of apartheid in the early 1990s, it was retained as a co-national anthem along with Nkosi Siyelela iAfrika from 1994 to 1997, when a new hybrid song incorporating elements of both songs was adopted as the country's new national anthem, which is still in use. The lyrics of the stem were written by Cornelius Jacobus Langenhoven in 1918, and then it was transcribed into English in 1952 by a collective effort. And the music was written by Martinus Lawrence de Villiers in 1921. The song itself was published in 1926. Very interesting there. I know some of you guys get very touched. You guys get very touched when you listen to the stem. Why you guys get so touched? It's just a lekker national anthem, man. Nkosi sikeleli Afrika, maluphakanyisa udumo lwayo, yizwa imithandazo yethu, Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo. Uza moya, uza, uza, uza moya, oi ngcwele Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo. Nkosi Sikelela iAfrika is a Christian hymn, Lord Bless Africa, originally composed in 1897 by Enoch Sontonga, a Xhosa clergyman at a Methodist mission school near Johannesburg. The song became a Pan-African liberation song, and versions of it were later adopted as the national anthems of 5 countries in Africa, including Zambia, Tanzania, Namibia, and Zimbabwe after independence, and South Africa after the end of apartheid. The song's melody is still used as the national anthem of Tanzania and the national anthem of Zambia. Zimbabwe and Namibia have since changed to new anthems with original melody composition. In 1994, Nelson Mandela decreed the verse Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika be embraced as a joint national anthem of South Africa. A revised version, additionally including elements of the stem, the then co-state anthem inherited from the previous apartheid government, was adopted in 1997. This new South African national anthem is sometimes referred to as Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika, although it is not its official name. The hymn is also considered the unofficial African national anthem. According to anthropologist David Coplin, Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika has come to symbolize more than any other piece of expressive culture the struggle for African unity and liberation in South Africa. The lyrics by Enoch Sontonga in 1897, the music itself by Enoch Sontonga in 1897, adopted on the 10th of May 1994 by South Africa, on the 21st of March 1990 by Namibia, on the 24th of October 1964 by Zambia. It was relinquished on the 10th of October 1997 by South Africa, on the 17th of December 1991 by Namibia, and on the 14th of September 1973 by Zambia. Some history for you guys. Obviously, part of the jokes we've said is the Nkosi Sikelel' part, the part. Ooh, let me not forget some of my brothers. Let me see if the lyrics are here. Oof, they're not. Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika, malupa. Morena buluga sichaba sa Yesu, ufedise dinswali matwenye, usibuluge, sichaba sa Yesu, sichaba sa South Africa. The joke is the Afrikaans versions of the national anthem and the English versions of the national anthem speak about land, you know, and they speak about the pride of being a South African on this land, and it speaks about the mountains and the rivers and the fights and how the white people of this country are willing to live for and willing to die for this country. And then the African parts speak about God, please save us, you know, Christian. You know, Nkosi Sikelel', bless Africa. You know, let's raise your voice. You know, if you go into the longer version, because the stem has got 4 verses, not just the first verse I read. And then Nkosi Sikelel' has also got a longer version, which speaks about Sikelel' abafundisi and all these things. Very Christian, very Jesus turn the other cheek, and a lot of people get upset by that. For me, to you, the challenge is for you guys out there, especially those of you who have studied music, who know how to write music. Guys, we need a new national anthem in this country. This whatever I was singing now is outdated. And it's up to you guys. I've created a new religion, penalism. And by the way, June, this month, happy 1st of June. June is going to be the official month of penalism. Penalism was born on the 15th of June, 2018. That means on the 15th of June this year in 2022, we'll be turning 4 years old. Yes, it was a social experiment. Yes, it was a concept. Yes, I didn't really know what I was doing. But I believe that it is becoming more formalized. I am working on creating clothing for penalists to wear every single day, because penalists wear black rather. Last week in Europe, Trevor Noah was wearing black every single day, which I thought was pretty awesome. So this month is penalism month. I've created my own religion. You guys need to create a new national anthem. Today I'm going to be in Pretoria, in Tshwane, meeting with some of my followers, some of the people that watch my videos. I'm quite excited about that. And one of the people that DM'd me is a gentleman by the name of Mbuso Ndlovu. Mbuso Ndlovu has composed some amazing music. Some I'd heard from the Tux Camerata, the choir at the University of Pretoria. Some of the music I heard from the University of Johannesburg choir. You know, I'm a huge choir boy, as you heard. I'm quite excited to meet Mbuso if he comes through today. And the music that he's written, if you ever go onto YouTube, maybe type in Mbuso Ndlovu. You might hear some of his music. Another amazing musician, of course, is, I think, Reuel Khoza. Great singer, great storyteller. You can go on YouTube and you can check his stuff as well. So for me, it was just a challenge to you guys. Guys, write new national anthems. Those of you who come from schools, I come from Newcastle High. Our school song was, as the years in time unfolding in the media. These English songs that are very formal and, you know, so proper English with the Queen. They outdated. We've moved, you know. Today we have Amapiano, we've had Iqom, we've had Kwaito, we've had house, of course. We are global. We've got hip hop. We're global. We've got gospel. Why can't we fuse music and make music that is relevant for us? You know, Enoch Sontonga took it upon himself to write a song. Why you guys, I mean, also I spoke about Cornelius and Martinez. Why are you guys not writing music? Make music that makes you guys vibe. When I sing my national anthem, and if it means we're fucking shouting like Rick Ross, when we get to the end of our national anthem, you must be feeling it in your heart. This is the jam. This is the jam that wherever I am in the world, I can feel it. You know, one of the songs that I think about every time I've left South Africa and I land in the country is the beginning of The Lion King. I think it was written by Lebo M. Nansi ngonyama bakithi baba sithi ngonyama. You know, it gives this feeling of pride. On the day we arrived on this planet. There's a lady, Siswami. Wakakwala. I forgot her surname. There's a beautiful lady who's WhatsApped me, who's reached out to me, who's bought my books, who's posted on these comments here, who is playing the role of Rafiki in the Lion King production. Last I checked, they were in Germany. I'm not sure if she's still there. Beautiful work that we're doing, exporting our natural stuff. Our national anthem should have drums. It should have dancing. It should have... anyways, I'll leave that to you guys, the creatives and whatever. I'm going to try and keep this short for today. Had an amazing phone call from my brother Nhlanhla Lux last night. We spoke for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. You know, he was just updating me on the struggle and the fight, on some of the work that they're doing on the ground for the people, in particular the people of Soweto. Nhlanhla Lux is deeply, deeply passionate about his Soweto. Let me actually just look up his Soweto quickly. For those of you who may not know, Soweto is an acronym. I believe the term is an acronym. It's a combination of terms. Just as Absa Bank used to be the amalgamated banks of South Africa, Soweto is an acronym for Southwestern Townships. S-O South, W-E Western, T-O Townships. The Southwestern Townships. So it's an acronym for the Southwestern Townships. Formerly a separate municipality, now incorporated in the city of Johannesburg Metropolitan Municipality. Last I checked, it was the biggest township in the country. You see the population in 2011 was at 1.2 million people. I'm sure it's grown now. There was a gentleman's name I wanted to find here. Geez, I'm going to lose it. So I'm just trying to... I've lost it. But here it is. In 1934, James Sofasonke Mbanza moved to 957 Piele Street, Orlando, and lived there for the rest of his life. A year after his arrival in Orlando, he formed his own political party, the Sofasonke Party. He also became very active in the affairs of the advisory board for Orlando. Anyways, I think I have to read this on my own, but I remember some people calling for Sofasonke Mbanza, for Soweto to be named after him. You know, at the time I thought he might have been the founder of Soweto, but I don't think he was. But I think he was a great voice there. We can't call everything Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela and, you know, OR Tambo. Some of the names need to speak to the people on the ground there. Nhlanhla Lux is very passionate about Soweto. One of his mentors, of course, is Ubabu Irvin. Ivan Khoza. You know, the chairman of Orlando Pirates, and I think he might still be the chairman of the Premier Soccer League, the PSL. Very passionate about Soweto and the work they're doing. I was speaking to him, obviously, about the dangers of the work he's doing. We didn't speak about foreigners. I've spoken enough, I think, on these videos about foreigners because Nhlanhla and I don't fully align on the strategy they're using. He works with the Operation Dudula, which was a separate organization that he joined. He's set up the Soweto Youth Parliament. That's his organization. And the work they've been doing on the ground with the Operation Dudula, which has inspired a lot of South Africans to put South Africa first. You know, I wish, of course, that it would inspire South Africans to buy from black South Africans. But this is part of the hypocrisy and the cognitive dissonance that a lot of black South Africans have, where you guys have issues with foreigners. You call them names, Makrikamba, Makwerekwere, whatever it is. You call them these derogatory terms. But then when you need someone to build them up back rooms, you get someone from Mozambique, from Malawi, from Lesotho. When you need someone to do your hair or your child's hair, you're getting a lady from Zimbabwe. If you're cutting your hair as Umchita, you're getting gents from Ghana, Ghanaian to come and cut your hair. You're obviously buying from Pakistanis, you're buying from Somalians, you're buying from Ethiopians. You know, the hypocrisy of wanting to, the illegal foreigners must go. But when it comes to voting with your rand, you guys are not buying from black South Africans. When it comes to voting with your labor, you guys are not working for black South Africans. You'd rather work for the same white people who are also illegal foreigners that landed here in 1652, who came and colonized your people, who came and beat and oppressed and exploited your people. You'd rather go and beg for jobs from them. You'd rather buy from their businesses. We saw with the looting last year that when businesses collapsed, Elokshin, because black South Africans burnt them down. Instead of black South Africans being like, here's an opportunity for us to build our own businesses, what did you do? You guys decided to catch taxis and go to the closest suburb and then try to buy from the white businesses there, which means you guys are not ready to become your own solutions. You still want to be beggars of white people. You still want to be beggars of foreigners that are here applying their trade. And yet you have the goal to want to bash them. I have spoken about the fact that our borders need to be fixed, about the fact that I support borders, even though I feel like we need to have a very deep discussion around the borders, because I'd like our borders to be moved. And I'd like us to incorporate other countries and exclude other countries into our borders. I also believe controversially that we need borders within South Africa, where we separate movement and allow for the development of various provinces. I've spoken about the fact that, and Helen Zille apparently said this, that South Africans themselves are migrants in this country, where AmaXhosa from the Eastern Cape, AmaZulu from KwaZulu, AbeSuthu from the Free State, some of AmaTswana from the Northwest, AmaVenda and AmaTsonga from Limpopo, and other such people, AmaNdebele, I have to include places from places like Mpumalanga, Khona Mashangana, and those type of people. They all migrate to the cities, to your Johannesburgs, to your Durbans, to your Cape Towns, to your Bloemfonteins, to your Kimberleys, to your Rustenburgs, looking for work, looking to go and become modern day slaves. And we need to find solutions around that. But Nhlanhla Lux is an amazing young man, very passionate about the people. He's obviously been called names like he's been captured, he's been called a puppet of white monopoly capital, and. The guy was listening to the people on the ground of Soweto, and the people of Soweto said, these are our ills. And he took it upon himself to lead. And he was meant to inspire you guys, just as with Julius Malema, Kuseni Dlamini, Floyd Shibambu. They were meant to inspire you guys. For the females, Omandisa Mashego, Nompendulo Mkhacho, I think might be her name. Losisi that was in charge of If Fees Must Fall at Wits. You know, we've had great young leaders, even a Pumzile Van Dam, even a Lindiwe Mazibuko. You know, these are great young female leaders, and you're not meant to look to them to be Jesus and Moses and your savior. You're meant to look to them for inspiration, to say, let me lead. I don't live in Soweto like Nhlanhla Lux. Where do I live? Ngihlala eMlazi, ngihlala kwaMashu, ngihlala eMdantsane, ngihlala eMadadeni, Osizweni, ngihlala kwaNyanga, ngihlala ekhaya elitsha, ngihlala eAlex, ngihlala eThembisa. How can I lead? How can I be the Nhlanhla Lux of my space and find out what do the people here want and how can we solve that. Shout out to a brother of mine, Slow Motion, who's based in Eguruleni, Katlehong, Fosloras, those sides where they fundamentally were able to remove foreign spaza shop owners and they put black South African spaza shop owners. Sadly, because we don't have a culture of working long hours and enterprise, a lot of those spaza shops have closed. But it was a great example of young black people leading in the spaces that they are in. So that's fundamentally important. We spoke about some of the cool people Nhlanhla's met. We spoke about children and being fathers. We spoke about penalism. Nhlanhla's actually one of the supporters of penalism as a religion, which I think is pretty cool. I was speaking to him about the fact that Isaiah Shembe of Ibandla Lama Nazareta was working with John Langanbalele Dube, one of the co-founders of the African National Congress, and how it's very important for religious leaders, political leaders, even business leaders to be working together. I work with some of the young multimillionaires in South Africa. Some of the tenderpreneurs, you know, I obviously call some of these guys out when we're out there with my cheetah. Make sure that when you're making your tender money, you're investing back. Make sure you're buying equipment. Stop fucking blowing money on girls, on booze, on expensive cars. Build sustainable stuff. Become black industrialists, you know, which is a huge call. Shout out to Hendrik van der Bijl, of which Van der Bijl Park is named after him, who built Eskom, built Sasol, built ISCO, built Armscor. I think he's a greater innovator than an Elon Musk, even though I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. And I've been waiting for the young black versions of an Elon Musk, a Hendrik van der Bijl, and other industrialists, the John D. Rockefellers of South Africa. I thought guys like Siya Khoza, I think it was at St. John's College, one of the smartest young people we've had in this country. I was hoping that they would be funded by the government. They would have these programs where they're building energy plants, where they're building car manufacturing plants, where we have our own vehicles, where they're building whatever, you know, become the Aliko Dangotes of this country. Anyways, I had a great chat with Nhlanhla Lux last night. So shout out to Nhlanhla. And I ended up posting here on Facebook and I posted on Twitter, just sending a shout out to my brother. We may disagree on certain elements and that's fine. But on the elements where we agree, I'm happy for us to continue to collaborate and work. And I'm happy that he's speaking for his people. Just as Ernst Roots and Kali Kriel are speaking for their Afrikaans people, largely white, in AfriForum. Just like they are leaders of the Jewish Board of Deputies who fight for the Jews. Just as there's the Muslim associations in South Africa, Islamic Association, of South Africa, which fights for the Muslims. You guys need more leaders. You guys need more organizations. You guys need to fundraise in your spaza shops. You believe in Andile Ngcaba. Are you giving him money? Because you don't want him to be captured, right? By white monopoly capital like a Cyril and all these other people. You don't want him to be captured like a Jacob Zuma by the Guptas. So how are you, his followers, capturing him? Are you giving him money? Are you there saying, Andile, wherever you need us, we will provide labor. We're here for you. We will go and take over land. We will go and work the land. Or are you guys just happy to make noise on social media? I know I get bashed for being a keyboard warrior, of which I am. I post on social media, I make videos, on the ground. I do work on the ground. Some of it is charity work. Some of it is obviously spreading the message like Jesus and Moses and Noah. I have my own business interests. I collaborate with some entrepreneurs as well. You know, I'm doing okay and I appreciate it, but that's not the point. My point is to be a voice. I'm like an Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was not in the front lines gunning people down. He was not on the ground. He was inspiring and motivating Germans to understand that they can be self-sustaining. And Adolf Hitler helped Germany build itself into the industrial powerhouse it is today. Germany is a leader in engineering. Adidas is from Germany. The biggest car manufacturing and car ownership company, Volkswagen, is a direct result of Adolf Hitler speaking to Ferdinand Porsche, who designed the first Beetle and then went on to build his own Porsche brand. Hugo Boss, which designed the clothing for the Nazi soldiers. Hugo Boss is a big brand today. If you look up the businesses that were built by the industrialization plans of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, from about 30% unemployment, he almost wiped out unemployment in Germany. Of course, he killed the Jews. He was a bad person. He'll go down as an evil tyrant that killed people just because they belong to a certain group of people. And he blamed Jews for their woes as the German people, in the same way Idi Amin blamed Indians and other people for their woes. In the same way, South Africans today are blaming African nationals here, illegally documented, some of the Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Ethiopians, Somalians, and obviously we blame white people, of which we've had apartheid and British colonization. We blame everyone, but we refuse to be like the Nation of Islam, led by Minister Louis Farrakhan in America. Before him, we had Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. We don't want to be like the Black Panthers Party in America, which was led by Huey P. Newton. We don't want to be like a Marcus Garvey and build black spaces. We're constantly wanting to blame everyone. And yet we have money, but we're not putting our money where our beliefs are. We have got labor, hands, but we're not working for the companies that are run by the type of ideologies we claim to support. So this really falls on you. And again, I want to send a shout out to Nhlanhla Lux. Looking forward to his rise. Let's protect him. Let's protect other leaders because they speak for certain people on the ground. And if they don't speak for you, go and find the leaders that speak for you. And if there aren't any, that's a call and a challenge to you to lead wherever you are. businesstech.co.za, written on the 30th of May 2022, which was the day before yesterday. The headline is, BEE has failed in South Africa in some areas. This was a quote from Cyril Ramaphosa, the big-nosed buffalo. 2023 will mark 2 decades, it's 20 years, since broad-based Black Economic Empowerment, Triple BEE Act, was passed. But it's clear more work still needs to be done, says President Cyril Ramaphosa. Writing in his weekly open letter to the public, Ramaphosa said his government's commitment to entrench and deepen economic empowerment is unwavering. That is why Black economic empowerment is an integral part of our economic reconstruction and recovery in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, he said. While there has been significant progress over the last 2 decades, there are some areas where there has been regression. We have gone backwards when it comes to increasing Black management control, upscaling skills development, entrenching enterprise development, and broadening procurement to give opportunities to Black women and the youth. The apartheid government deliberately built a distorted economy designed to benefit white people. The majority of South Africans were marginalized from the mainstream economy, with Black entrepreneurs confined to small retail industries in the townships, the president said. At the end of apartheid, Black ownership of JSE listed companies was less than 1%. This figure has not improved much in the past 28 years, and I'd like to add in the past 28 years under the Black ANC government rule. At the same time, there have been important private sector initiatives and deliberate measures by the state to facilitate greater and more meaningful participation of Black people in the economy. It is clear that much more work needs to be done to address the many challenges that Black businesses face. This includes the difficulty of accessing startup and expansion capital and the ability of SMMEs to find markets for their products. Black women-owned businesses in particular encounter difficulties in taking on large-scale empowerment transactions. Breaking the cycle of underdevelopment through Black economic empowerment is not just a moral imperative, it also makes business sense, he said. The continued exclusion of the Black majority from the economy's mainstream constrains economic growth, which ultimately impacts all business. Expanding the country's entrepreneurial base is fundamental to growth. It is not only wrong, but also unsustainable for businesses to keep their management and ownership structures mostly white or male, he said. Very ironic and hypocritical of Cyril Ramaphosa, and one of the reasons why I personally don't like him as a leader. Saying the right things, which is what politicians do. They say the right things. No, what we need is on the other side, it's because of people like Cyril that BEE has failed and only benefited a few people, including himself. It's because of people like him that certain opportunities don't go and filter down to Black people, but stay with his funders, you know, sadly. Jacob Zuma is obviously accused of enriching the Guptas and other Indian families like the Sheikh family or Shabir, the Reddy family, Vivian Reddy. But I've walked the ground. I've spoken to a lot of people, and Jacob Zuma, through his policies, uplifted a lot of black entrepreneurs. A lot of black people got to eat during the Zuma era. A lot of black people became overnight multimillionaires through tenders, of course. The sad thing is those people, when Zuma was being attacked, were nowhere to be seen. A stark reminder to me that when you fight for black people, they will not defend you tomorrow. Black people do not kill anyone for Bantu Bigo, for Robert Mangaliso Sobugwe. Black people did not kill anyone for Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X or Chris Hani. You will die for Abantu Abamnyama, and Abantu Abamnyama will carry on with their lives like nothing happened. That's why you'd rather be an American. In America, even someone like an A$AP Rocky, who was arrested in some European country, had a Donald Trump, the American president at the time, fight to get him brought back to America. When the Twin Towers were bombed, George Bush went and set up a huge military to go and bomb countries in the Middle East. And it was carried on by a Barack Obama. In South Africa, no one will fight for you, especially black people. You will die. You'll trend on social media. There'll be sad news. People will cry for, there must be justice. If you're popular enough, people will put you on t-shirts and they'll say your name every now and then when they speak about black consciousness and Pan-Africanism. But there will be no justice, no revenge. You don't play games with white people in this country. You touch one of them, they've got guns, they're armed. They do military training on their farms with their kids. They will kill you. You do the same with Indians. We saw now in Phoenix that they don't play games. We saw even small groups like Somalians having guns at Gqeberha in Port Elizabeth. Black South Africans, nothing. Absolutely nothing. These people won't die for you. They won't defend you. So no one defended Jacob Zuma. Guy was struggling. Those guys were nowhere to be found. We watched Cyril Ramaphosa ascend to presidency through bribes. Bribes that we still cannot see because the justice system, which is captured in this country, refuses to unlock his bank statements. And you guys still believe in the courts, that someday the courts will change. You guys still wait for mainstream media to tell the stories that they won't. They won't tell you those stories. You guys are still waiting for white businesses to let you in when they've got black gatekeepers, security guards like Cyril, that sit on their boards to make sure that you don't get in. The Guptas got kicked out of ESCOM. Glencore, which was working with Cyril Ramaphosa's Shanduga, they haven't been kicked out, even though they've been implicated in huge scandals across the world. Nothing. And you guys are still hoping. The same way you're hoping that Jesus will come back. The same way you hope Amadlozi Akho will one day intervene. It's not going to happen. The world doesn't work like that. Religion, culture, Amadlozi, these beliefs are just stories that have been peddled to you to keep you pacified and weak, so that you don't take up guns and you take matters into your own hands, so that the family of Usenzo Meyiwa don't take the law into their own hands. We demonize mob justice. We demonize Operation Dudula and Abontlantla Lux because we become so scared of taking the law into our own hands. Untlantla Lux defended Maponya Mall in the same way white people defended their malls during the looting, in the same way Indian people defended their neighborhoods last year. In the same way, the taxi industry has guns to defend their roots. And you guys have been forced to believe that this is wrong. Vladimir Putin, Injembi, Uswine motherfucker, Gabadia. Injembi has got soldiers in Russia that fight for what they believe in. The Chinese military is the biggest military in the country. North Korea with Kim Jong-un and their nuclear weapons. If you look at America, which has the most funded military and the second biggest military in the world, these guys don't play games. So now we've got all my banner. We've got Amasocha that are fat, that are useless, who only come into our townships to come and bully us, our people. Where Cyril Ramaphosa sends them to come and beat and bully their own people. Soldiers killed people under COVID. And no one wants to speak about that because your mainstream media is captured. That's why they're not going hard on Cyril and Shanduga and Glencore. That's why they don't go hard on Cyril and Aspen and COVID vaccines. That's why they don't go hard on what happened at the BBC, where Cyril was joking about the 22 million rand flag. The BBC, where a table was 30,000 rand to come and sit and watch Cyril. And yet you guys demonize Shepherd Bushiri for charging 5,000 rand for a seat to sit next to him as a religious leader. Your kings, like the Zulu king, who gets a budget of 70 million rand, who makes over 120 million rand from Nkonyama Trust. You guys don't question that because your minds are closed and captured. Keyboard warrior, oh, Penwell just make noise on social media. But I can tell you for a fact now that my words touch souls out there. There are fathers that are reunited with their kids because of my words. There are mothers, single mothers, who are finding positive male role models for their kids, who are finding the fathers of their kids and making sure they co-parent. There are people out there who have started exercising because of my words. People that have started vegetable gardens because of my words. People that have become minimalists, who are no longer materialistic in their lives, who have gotten rid of some of their excess stuff. People that are telling me in the DMs that they are now drinking less alcohol because they want to be sober-minded. Ladies who are taking their children to the shooting range to learn how to shoot guns. People who are going back to their families and saying, Mom, Dad, how can we rebuild the family? How can we use our family assets to get loans from the bank? People that are taking the knowledge that they're getting home. People that are going to their mothers and saying, please watch this guy, Upenwe. Yesterday, a guy sent me a voice note of his mom saying that because he was playing it on the radio via aux or Bluetooth on the radio in the car for his mom to listen to my words. And his mom was like, hey, which radio station is this? Of which I laughed. My words are shifting mindsets. I'm meeting people who are thanking me. People who are sending me money to say, Pen, Fagu Petrol Bar, go and see your people. They need you out there. I appreciate it. It's just words. It's just words. But I know the power of words. Because words are the reason why you guys forgive. The words of Nelson Mandela. Words are the reason why you guys turn the other cheek from the Bible. And I'm telling you now with the words that I have, that I am effecting change. Doesn't matter how small it is. I'm happy that at least one person is being united and building their family. That one woman out there who's earning a higher salary than her man is understanding the battles, the external forces that are beating her man. And she's saying, Ndoda yami, ngicela sikhulume. Ngicela sikhulume baba. Yazi ngilalela uPenwell. uPenwell wathi kumele ngeke ukukuhlukumeza because I'm part of the problem. Kumele ngeke ukutshela ukuthi uyitrash, ukuthi useless, ukuthi indoda must. Ngiyahola kahle baba, ngicela sizane. Ikhona into ongayenza baba ukuthi sikwazi ukwakha lo muzi. Is there something we can do to rebuild our family, especially the black family? Is there something, I made a video 2 days ago about the Coloureds from the Cape Flats, Mitchell's Plain, places like El Dorado Park, Westbury, Coronation. Speak about those type of brainos there that it's time that you guys lead as well where you come from, bro. It can't be that you're always waiting for somebody and you blame the whites and you blame the blacks and you brainos don't want to rise up like Gaten McKenzie and those others and do something, bruh. Just fucking do something for your Owens. Coloureds need to rise and remove the scourge of drugs and bad people in their own spaces. Create their own economies where they are. Build coloured economies. You're listening to black people speak about spaza shops. Who owns the spaza shops in coloured areas? Who owns the businesses in coloured areas? Why are coloureds not farming their own food, setting up their own shooting ranges, building their own enterprises? 8% of our population is coloured. It's the same size as the 8% white population, but you can see the difference in the wealth. Coloureds have a role to play. They're being bullied even by the 2.5% Asian community, which is largely Indian. Coloureds must rise, the brainos. They must rise. You guys need to lead. Very upset by Cyril. And one of my mentors, a gentleman by the name of Vuyo Jack, who with a Chinese fellow that he went to WITS with, they both chartered accountants, CAs. They set up the first ratings agency for BEE called EmpoweredX. EmpoweredX found a way to rate if a company is compliant in transformation. And I've sat with him and I think he was one of the first people to tell me that over the years, BEE has generated a value of, I think, over 400 billion rand. And he was the same person to tell me that he thinks BEE has failed because over 80% of that 400 billion has gone back into white hands. White people found loopholes around BEE so that they can benefit. I believe over 80% of verification agencies are white owned. They're not black owned. Tragic. Tragic. Black economic empowerment is a policy of the South African government which aims to facilitate broader participation in the economy by black people, especially in order to redress inequalities created by apartheid. It provides incentives, especially preferential treatment, in government procurement processes to businesses which contribute to black economic empowerment according to several measurable criteria, including through partial or majority black ownership, hiring black employees, and contracting with black-owned suppliers. The preferential procurement aspect of BEE has been viewed as paradigmatic of a sustainable procurement approach whereby government procurement is used to advance social policy objectives. So-called BEE deals, transactions aiming to increase black ownership of large businesses, have been conducted on a large scale, with BEE transactions concluded between 1994 and 2005 valued at between 150 billion rand and 285 billion rand. Amid dissatisfaction with the progress of existing initiatives, in May 1998, the Black Business Council appointed Cyril Ramaphosa to chair a BEE commission. The commission proposed a broad definition of BEE. The Black Business Council, BBC, appointed Cyril Ramaphosa. BEE Act was passed in 2003. These things just make me sad, man. One of the things I want to say, white people are, no, rich and powerful white people are very intelligent. They're very strategic. They understand human psychology. They understand history. They understand money, capital, how it flows. They understand perception, that perception is more important than reality. Part of the reason the apartheid government and even the British colonizers and the Queen were comfortable with handing over power to the ANC was because they'd cemented a certain way of operating in this country. They knew that not much would change. So they were comfortable to hand over. Part of the reason they approved of black economic empowerment is because they'd found the right type of black people to be in front of this thing and to be the face of this thing. One of the things I've said to people is, one day perhaps rich white people will leave this country and they'll leave the economy to black people and everyone will celebrate. And they'll do that because they will have figured out how to build offshore businesses that indirectly control or own or fund black businesses here. You'll have someone like a Patrice running the biggest black bank in the country. You'll have maybe a Cyril Ramaphosa running the biggest supermarket chain in the country. You'll have someone like a Phuthuma Nhleko owning the biggest fuel stations in the country. You'll have maybe a Daphney Nkosi maybe owning some of the biggest mines in the country. You'll have a Sakimat Zuma owning the biggest fleets of logistics in this country. And everyone will celebrate like they celebrate Aliko Dangote in Nigeria. Which this is now a black-owned and black-run economy. And then people like myself will do the investigation of where does Time Bank come from? Who are the owners of Time Bank? Who are the executives? Who are the service providers? Who has funded these people? Who owns the companies in the JSE? And it will come out then that the black people that supposedly run the economy are black faces that actually work for white funders, white owners, white service providers overseas. And I'll realize that's how they allowed our country to be run by blacks, because it's actually not. The blacks are actually just puppets for the same minority wealth out there. One of the things I know is that Cyril Ramaphosa is trying to, along with his fans and friends and stakeholders, they're trying to remove BEE requirements. The DA has been fighting to remove BEE for a while. Musi Maimane has stood up to say BEE is rubbish. Herman Mashaba has stood up to say BEE has played a huge role in getting black people jobs where they couldn't get them, in getting certain black businesses funding from the National Empowerment Fund, the NEF, from ISIFA, in Gauteng we have the Gauteng Economic Propeller from the NYDA. It's been a lot of corruption there. A lot of the money has gone to connected black people, of course, but it's gone to black people. Unfortunately, those black people didn't build sustainable businesses, but it's helped a lot of people. There are people that get tenders today, particularly because they're black, And Abu Sola trying to remove that, because the way this stuff works, you want to get into a space, an elite space, get onto the table through fighting and making a noise and proving that you're adequate. And then after that, you want to close the door so that other people can't get in. That's how it works. That's what Cyril and the people are doing, unfortunately. I wrote a piece in 2019. It's in one of my books. Thank you to everyone who supported my books as well. 50 Rand a copy. I titled the piece, "The Fight is at the Top, Not at the Bottom." Written on the 27th of September 2019. Let's start here. Before I do that, I want to mention, I challenge any of you who are statisticians out there, who are actuaries, who collect data. I would love to see the data for a racial breakdown of who pays tax in this country. SARS refuses to send out that information. I would like to see the races that pay the personal income tax, the value-added tax, and the corporate income tax. I'd like it broken down by race, because I already know the racial breakdown of who earns grants and freebies. I want to see that. I forgot the numbers, but about 72% of white people have medical aid in this country. 72% of white people. On the other hand, about 10% of black people have medical aid. So it looks bad. Ooh, white people are rich, 72%. Only 10% of blacks have medical aid. Then I did this thing which people don't want me to do, which is to look at the numbers. And if you look at the numbers, the 72% of the 8% of white people in this country is lower in number than the 10% of the 80% that is black in this country. What did that tell me? It told me that there are more black people in volume that have medical aid than white people. It also told me that there's a huge chance that there are more black people in volume that earn money, good money, than white people. And one of the things I'd like to see as a start, I'd like to see the income of the 8% of whites. There's only 8% white people. I'd like to see their income distribution. And then I'd like to see the income distribution of the top 8% of black people in this country, and compare the two and do a like for like, because we like comparing 8% whites to 80%, which is black. And of course, the bulk of blacks are poor. So the numbers are going to look skewed. I want to see real numbers at the top. The richest black people, how do they compare to white people? And what are those black people doing for other black people? Or have they become gatekeepers of their privilege, just like whites? I'd like to see that data. I think that data will be a game changer. Everywhere I travel, I see so many rich black people, well-off black people, but no one speaks about them. No one. No one. Let's start here. In South Africa in 2019, the difference between a black-owned business is the race of the owner. That's it. Comparing a successful white-owned and a black-owned business. The employees of both the white-owned and the black-owned business, the employees are black, the bulk of them. You go into a ShopRite, a Pick n Pay, a Bidvest, you go into any white company, even white-owned mines, the bulk of the employees overwhelmingly are black. A successful white-owned and black-owned businesses, their suppliers are white. Their bankers are white. Their lawyers are white. Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, even a Julius Malema have got white lawyers. The landlord, where they operate their businesses, are white. Township businesses source supplies from white manufacturers and bank in white banks. If they are in a township mall or a shopping center, chances are that those buildings are white owned. Black people now want to wrestle Pakistanis, Somalians, etc., Ethiopians to own spaza shops so that they can be the glorified middlemen of Tiger Brands, Pioneer Foods, Unilever, etc. These white-owned manufacturers and wholesalers. Because you guys are not manufacturing. You want to arm wrestle to be retailers. These guys will keep making the bulk of the money and you'll be the middleman, your Avon, Justine, Tupperware. You guys want to be the Tumamina You want Tiger Brands to tuma you to go and sell their shit. Unilever to tuma you. Procter & Gamble to tuma you to open a spaza shop where you sell Surf and Omo and Joko Tea and all these other products, Sunlight and Colgate, SAP products, API or Coca-Cola. But you don't question who owns those. The Indians, I know personally, are infiltrating at the top so that maybe the day they hand over the spaza shops back to blacks, you'll be glorified workers of them and you'll be distributing their product and earning commission in the middle. The assumption that buying black creates black jobs is false because white businesses also create black jobs. The hope that black business owners buy from black suppliers is null and void. Black business owners, the successful ones at least, live a fully white life and gladly collect BEE points for government tenders en route to sending their kids to white schools in their white suburbs. Black people haven't been well groomed to run businesses, especially at a big scale. Across almost all industries and businesses, the following jobs are given to mostly black people. Across almost all industries and businesses, white or black owned: cleaning, security, driving, reception, sales, cooking, administration, etc. Where white people beat us is in senior management, executive level, and ownership. In essence, almost all businesses are black. Almost all businesses are black, except that the senior management, the executives, and the owners are white. That's where the real fight is. Not at a small business level and not at general employment level. And this is in particular how they get the middle class blacks and whites and the poor blacks and whites to fight each other. While Cyril and Stephen Saad and Brian Joffe and Patrice Motsepe and Christo Visa and Yanni Mouton and all these other guys at the top laugh with each other while they send their kids to top private schools, while they live in their Lani suburbs, while they live in gated communities, while you guys squabble at the bottom. Julius Malema is being chauffeured. He lives in a highly secured estate while you guys are fighting with foreigners at the bottom, and he's telling you to remove the borders. The fight is at the top, not at the bottom. White business owners are creating jobs for blacks. And they create more jobs than the foreigners. The Pakistanis, the Somalians, these guys don't give you jobs. But a USAVE, a ShopRite, a PEP, there's black people, black South Africans working in there. I wrote a list, and this is where I'm going to end my talk for today. I compiled a list rather, of some of the wealthiest black people in this country. By wealthy, I mean these people have an asset base of probably 10 million rand to 100 million rand to a billion rand and more. The list is not exhaustive. Please also understand the list is a bit outdated. Some of these people have probably lost their wealth because a lot of them were just fronting for BEE. So their shares were actually hollow. There are obviously new people on this list. And then I need to add this disclaimer that there's a lot of black people that are not on this list because they are unknown, because maybe they don't have listed shares, because they're not popular, because they work in the background. But a lot of these people are making 500,000 to a million rand a month. Black people that you've never heard of. Some of you see them in your neighborhoods. Some of them own taxis, some own buses, some own funeral parlors, some own supermarkets, some own butcheries, some own manufacturing businesses, some have shares in mines or own mines, some own lots of trucks that transport various commodities. Some of them are in IT, they own IT businesses. Some of them have audit firms. Some of them have doctors' practices. Some of them actually own private clinics or private hospitals. Some of them have law firms. There are black people making a lot of money in this country. Some of them are farmers. Some of them export outside of the country. Some of them are in funny spaces like banking, crypto, programming, etc. Black people that are milking a lot of money, and they're not going to be on this list. I've written this list. I'm going to post it probably on Facebook again. And then what I normally do at the end of the list is I encourage people to send me names of people that I don't know that they know that are rich, that have an asset base of at least 10 million rand or more. I'm particularly saying asset base, not net assets, because net assets means assets minus liabilities. Most people don't know that an asset base is normally funded by a bank or someone out there. I might get a stake in some big white company and they're like, Pero owns 10% of this 10 billion rand company. So that means he's worth 1 billion rand. But you won't find out that to buy that stake, I had to get money from maybe the PIC or the NEF, or those white people gave me what's called vendor financing, which Patrice Motsepe got, which I think the Guptas gave to Umzwanele Manyi when they gave him ANN7 and the New Age. It's what the Guptas were given by Brian Molefe and Matsila Koko when they gave them the mine that they had. And it's just something in the business. That means I owe people money, but you guys won't know that I owe people money. All you see is my asset base. So if your asset base is 10 million rand or more, the wealthiest black people in South Africa: Andile Ngcaba, Archie Nkonyeni, Auswell Mashaba, Basetsana Khumalo, Bheki Sibiya, Brian Molefe, Brigette Radebe, Briss Mathabathe, Bulelani Ngcuka, Cyril Ramaphosa, Dalikaya Rain Zihlangu, Daphney Nkosi, Dr. Anna Mokgokong, Dr. Reuel Khoza, Dr. Richard Maponya, may he rest in peace, Duduzane Zuma, Elphus Mankoe, Fana Hlongwane, Fani Titi, Gary Murulu, Ipeleng Mkhari, Gloria Serobe, Happy Nchingila, Hatla Ntene, Herman Mashaba, Ipeleng Mkhari, Isaac Mupatlane, Jabu Mabuza, may he rest in peace, Jabu Molefe, JJ Njele, Joel Mokgokong, Judy Dlamini, Kholofelo Maponya, Khulubuse Zuma, Kuseni Dlamini, Lazarus Zim, Lebo Gunguluza, Lelau Mohuba, Litha Nyonyha, Lot Ndlovu, Mampela Rampele, Max Dichaba, Max Mailisela, Maxwell Bukwana, Mbongiseni Duma, Mike Nkuna, Mike Teke, Mkhuseli Faku, Mkhuseli Kusta Jack, Mlungisi Queen, Moss Mashinini, Moss Mkhwasheng, Mzi Khumalo, Mzolisi Diliza, Ndaba Ntsele, Nkanyiso Buthelezi, Nkululeko Sowazi, Nombulelo Pinky Moholi, Nonhlanhla Mjoli Mncube, Patrice Motsepe, Penuel Maduna, Phuthi Mahanyele, Phuthuma Nhleko, Paulo Radebe, Professor Wiseman Nkuhlu, Robert Gumede, Sabelo Macingwane, Sakhi Macozoma, Sandile Zungu, Sanele Zulu, Sfiso Dabengwa, Sim Shabalala, Sipho Majombozi, Sipho Nkosi, Sisa Ngebulana, Sisa Bhikisha, Siyabonga Gama, Sizwe Nxasana, Snowy Khoza, Soli Sithole, Tibugo Mukhashua, Tim Tibila, Tokyo Sehwale, Tommy Makado or Makado, Wendy Luhabe, Zithulele Kombi, Zwelibanzi, Vincent Mtambo. And I normally end it with who is missing from this list. Long list. And Joba Ngisho, there's a much longer list. These are wealthy black people. Asset base of over 10 million, 50 million, 100 million rand. A lot of these people are billionaires, rand billionaires. A few of them are dollar billionaires. What are they doing in their neighborhoods? What are they doing to uplift black people? How are they reinvesting? When are you guys out there going to set up a black African rich list so that kids can be inspired, so that people can work with them, so that people can supply them, and you guys can finally get this supposed black economy that you guys want? Penuel the Black Pen. I'll be seeing the guys in Pretoria later today. Thank you very much for tuning in today on another episode of Penuel the Black Pen. I love you guys very much. Cheers. Sure guys. Much.